Hi, welcome. Sarah Mack here, and welcome back to Creative Magic Club. I am very excited, as always, to dive into our topic today, which is I'm going to share my exact process with you on how to create good quality content consistently and fast. And I'm going to share my evolution and how I got there and the most important skills that have led to me creating content for a six-figure dream business, doing exactly what I want to do, talking exactly what I want to talk about in any given moment, and really being able to exist in a place of inspiration on tap, on knowing what to write and knowing how to write to make the money that I desire in my business. So before we dive in, I want to announce, if you haven't already gone to my website to grab my free PDF download on how to write a sales post to magnetize dream clients, go to my website with sarahmack.com, go to the freebie section to the 5-figure sales copy post template. And this will break down for you, the fundamentals of direct selling copywriting in a way that is driven by your story, that is authentic and in your own voice. But it really helps you to understand the key pieces that make you money when you do show up and write, and how to share your story in a way that attracts perfect fit, ready to buy clients into your inbox. And sharing this type of content in this way throughout the several past few years in my business has allowed me to hit my big, 6-figure years, my income goals of 5-figure and multi-5-figure months, and have an endless stream of clients, perfect fit, amazing, absolute total dream clients in my inbox asking to work with me. No sales calls required because my content is doing the selling for me. So this is perfect for creatives, for coaches or healers who want to feel really confident in the process of selling your passion work to dream clients. So go and download that and start using it. People have created instant sales from people who have been in their audience for years by just implementing this way of sharing their story. So my business has been purely built on organic content creation and content marketing on social media. And there are many, many different teachings about doing this and many different ways of how to do this too. And one thing I've discovered is there seems to be a spectrum of super strategic content creation. And then on the other side of the spectrum is super inspired content creation. And you'll find people that teach, the extremes of both of those things. So you'll have people who are like, I don't decide anything until the inspiration hits me in the moment. And then I drop everything and I do it then, because that's my divine calling. And that's the message that's coming through me. And that's when I show up and take action. And then you have people on the other side of the spectrum who are like, these are the exact precise words that when you do them, you will engineer and precisely attract this exact specific type of person. And people who, go through and make tweak after tweak, edit after edit, and really, really, really detail oriented in the type of copy and content that they put out in their business. And different approaches work for different people at different stages in their business. So it's not that there is a right way or a wrong way. It's really you get to, or as always, follow the path of least resistance. And I find myself now, somewhere really in the middle of those two things. I've done it both ways. And I do still do it both ways in my business. I do set time aside to be super strategic in my messaging and how I am showing up for the people that I want to call into my world and exactly what I want to be sharing with them. And I follow my inspiration. And when I get those, lightning bolt hits or it can even be those small nudges that come up over and over again, this is coming up in multiple directions. Definitely there's a message in here that I'm feeling called to share, and I'm going to go show up and talk about it and do spur of the moment content. So I do both. And I think it's good to have a balance of both too, right? Not that it can't, obviously the detail-oriented approach takes way more time and resources than just following the inspiration. But it's good to know the fundamentals that work, right? So you can really be rooted in confidence and, really build that skill and know obviously what works and what doesn't. And that's the benefit of continually showing up day after day, month after month, year after year, is you start to get that feedback on what works really well for you and what doesn't. So this episode is going to be perfect for you if you're in the early stages of your business, or if you've been in business for years and you want to really tighten up your content creation and selling skills so you're more easily attracting even more amazing clients. I am continually honing my skill and my craft on content creation. And I'm always expanding and exploring new fun and inspiring ways for me to show up and express myself and reach the people that I want to play with in life and business. So this is also really for you if you get confused by the many conflicting messages about how to show up online, because the process that I'm going to share with you today will help you to tap into your own process that works for you and really find a fun and fluid and like easily repeatable way for you to find your own groove with whatever that looks like for you. Because sometimes, you hear people touting this idea of like, just show up and like, just be yourself when you feel inspired. And then you have the people who are, saying, use my exact wording in these specific swipe files that are the words that will work to make you money. So it can feel confusing, right? And already when we're bringing something like an idea that we've never done before and maybe have zero evidence at the time of creation that this is even possible for us, we're going through a big leap of faith, right? And cultivating confidence is so key in that process. So it does really help to have some strategic, specific touch points that you can follow just to be able to reflect on and have a sense of like, I'm doing it right, right? Because if we're in any type of doubt or questioning and we fall into that too easily, which is just something that we're very susceptible to when we're doing something new, then we undermine our confidence and we undermine our results. So, and as always, confidence and conviction and passion is the most highest paying currency that you can bring and share with the world. Like that's why people buy. So it doesn't really matter which approach you use, as long as you feel confident in your ability to follow through with it, stay consistent with it, and have enough fun for it to be worthwhile for you to follow through until it works, right? So, and I'm constantly honing my content and hearing the same things from different perspectives and allowing different things to drop or tweak or shift. Allowing my knowledge of the fundamentals to deepen, because it's writing, like it's an in-depth skill and art form. And at the same time, a lot of these principles are so freaking simple that our mind sometimes struggles with grappling with them. Like, oh, I just do this and then I get what I want and I get the money and the dream clients. And all I have to do is this. Like, that doesn't seem easy enough. Like, that doesn't seem hard enough. That seems untrustworthily easy, and we can kick up resistance. Mindset stuff kicks up, money mindset stuff kicks up. So I love to, really knowing the craft of content that sells and writing that produces the results that I desire in my business is, it brings me so much confidence in my skills and my ability. And it carries me through those moments where you're launching something new when nobody's bought yet, or, you have those moments of doubt or those moments of financial pressure in your business where the clients and the money haven't quite shown up yet. And really leaning on the processes that that you have proven to yourself and that you have integrated and embodied, like that's enough to carry you through. It's like, I know how to do this. I can keep going. I'm just going to keep working the process because I know that this works for me. And even if you haven't got it to work for you at the level that you really want to yet, really cultivating and devoting to that practice and making it work for you, is the practice that will carry you through to the place where it is working for you. So So a bit of background, which I think is, always important for me to talk about, is that I studied copywriting. So even though I was technically a writer before I became an entrepreneur, just from the fact that I had written so many papers in my master's in film studies, even though I never associated with that identity, I had to learn a completely different way of writing when I went into business and I started supporting people in writing for their businesses. So, I just bought a basic course on copywriting and studied the principles of direct selling copywriting. And I just got to know, what are the strategic pieces that actually make a piece of writing lead to somebody taking an action and buying and, making a sale. And this is things like the call to action, right? Like knowing specifically that piece has to be there. Otherwise, it's not an action inspiring piece of content. It's an inspirational piece of content, which is great and, can do loads of other things for you and for your business and for your audience. But if we're interested in making money, this is what is needed in our work, and getting good at putting calls to action in there and really speaking to people in a way that leads to tangible results and sales and new clients. That's very obvious for you that it's working, right? Also, things about different types of language to use and how to talk about yourself and your story in a way that is actually always all about your dream client and the people that you most want to be working with. And, really doing that work to get clear on who you are talking to and why, and how, and, why you're talking to them in this way. Actually taking the time and doing the work to get clear on those really, really important strategic things, and then making sure that you're bringing that knowledge to you, to when you are writing and when you are talking to them. So these are strategic decisions that have to be made when you create in order to make money. And, it's important to really integrate that into the way that you're writing intentionally, so that when you do show up and you do feel inspired, you're still able to deliver that content in a way that's going to make you money. And this is, it's just something that comes from practice, right? Which is really the beauty of creating daily or almost daily content, is that learning curve is just going to go so quickly when you do that, and you're going to fail forward and you're going to see the difference between the pieces of content that didn't hit and resonate and lead to results and the content that did. So that was, I wrote for thousands of different digital online entrepreneurs, really understood the mechanisms of content that leads to action and sales and money in the pocket of the business. Then I discovered mindset and money mindset. And, I have so much to say about this. And I think it's actually equally as important in content, because if your mindset is in the gutter, your content will not be good, right? Like the two go hand in hand, the two influence and affect each other. So the most important piece that I want to talk about this today is the power of intention. So really tuning in and being conscious about where you are coming from and the energy that you're coming from. And, this is the difference between I'm just going to be a robot and pump out some content today because I've committed to writing daily content, to I am intentionally cultivating inspiration and energy in a way that moves my clients and that serves them and that connects with them and that really hits home with the message that I really desire for people to understand and to integrate. And it's so easy when we're entrepreneurs, right, to fall into the habit. And I absolutely don't think there's anything wrong. I always think it's better to show up than to not show up. Right? Because when we show up and fail, we get those lessons and we get that feedback and that data of how not to do it again. Whereas if we are just in avoidance or procrastination or waiting or trying to do it perfectly, those lessons will come a lot more slowly, right? And just observing how you feel when you show up to create and the differences in the way that you create, depending on the intention that you've brought to that creative process. So, this also feeds back into energy management, which was obviously huge for me, and how that starts to seep into your content. And however, I will say that I launched my first business off the back of more copywriting skills than mindset. Like the mindset was the thing that really just like shifted a lot of my procrastination and taught me how to embody confidence on an energetic level so that I was just more consistent and more committed with applying the strategic content creation tools that I had been embodying as a copywriter. And that's what led to like instant big results, the combination of those two things. And, you know, I have lent on copywriting as a skill, even when I was going through huge health and emotional challenges. And, you know, I was recovering from burnout when I built my business. And I've had times when I was having the worst periods of my life and, you know, going through massive challenges and still making loads of money in my business because I was leaning on those tools and on those skills that I had embodied and developed and created habits around. So we do not need to have a perfect mindset all the time. Do I do mindset every day? Yes. Do I embody it? The mindset of like that I want to be embodying 24/7? No, I'm a human, right? We're all going on our growth journey. We have ups and downs, but having those strategic tools and skills to lean on, they will continue to make you money, even when your mindset, or, you know, you might be experiencing a lot of financial stress or family stress, or, you know, really genuinely in fear about a transition, or, you know, stepping out of your comfort zone in something that you're doing outside of your business or doing that inside of your business. So energy management is really important. And yes, our state seeps into our content. And if we know how to write in a way that captures the energy and the intention that we desire to be putting out there, that gets to work regardless as to how we're feeling behind the scenes. So we do not have to be perfect, but we do have to be intentional, and we don't want to ever be sloppy, right? So that's when this type of advice of like, just show up and be yourself, however you are, can backfire. And I don't think there's ever anything wrong with being fully authentic, but, you know, we are in a position of leadership, right? Like the content that we're putting out, other people's attention is, like it's, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's prime real estate. People don't have that much attention. If they do land on you, like what is the message that you want people to get, right? Like don't waste that space and that effort and that energy is what I'm saying is, you know, if somebody hands you the mic and you get to speak to the entire world and everybody's listening, what is the message that you want to prioritize? You know, being really clear and strategic in I'm showing up and shouting from the rooftops the message that I know is going to lead to the change that I value and that I'm taking a stand for in my work and my business. So be authentic, but don't be sloppy. And there's no need to waste time, right? Like being really intentional. We're not here to spend every single moment of our life on social media. I keep my social media use during the day super minimal. Sometimes I only spend 15 minutes a day on social media. Sometimes I spend a little bit longer depending on the type of content that I'm creating, or, you know, sometimes I'll spend time on social media just for personal and for fun. But usually I'm really, really intentional in keeping time to a minimum and making sure that I'm putting content out that's moving my business and my mission and my desires and my impact forward, and not just scrolling aimlessly. Although amazing things can also come from that too, right? So just have very amazing, very intentional boundaries, very intentional purpose for your piece of content, for how you're showing up, how you're interacting, how you're engaging. And if you want specific results, get clear on the specific actions and habits and skills that will get you there, and use them day after day after day after day, and get good at them and prove them to yourself and find your own way in and find your own flow with them. So here's the process that I developed that has really supported me to not only consistently tap into that energy and intention that's really aligned with what I desire for my business, for my self-expression, for, you know, the people that I'm most excited to serve, but is also easy and really fun to stay consistent with. And have added my content creation into a habit stacking process. And this is actually how I developed this skill in the first place. And it's shifted a little bit since the earlier stages of doing this, but I'm going to share that with you right now. So, I obviously have assessed, went through that that clarity process of what are the actions and habits that make me the most money in my business. If you don't know the answer to this question, pause this and do some journaling on that now. If you're listening, it's probably content creation, right? So I got really clear on that. I was like, what are the things I most love to do in my business that also make me the most money and also bring me the most joy, that if I do more of that thing, then I make more money, I have more fun, and I deliver more value, and everybody's a winner. And that for me is content creation. So, as we all know, the kind of basics of prioritization and habit stacking is if you do it top of the day, the chances of you doing it are significantly higher than if you leave it until the end of the day. So if you're establishing a new habit or you're trying to speed up the amount of time that you spend creating content and you want to be creating more, or you want to be creating more sales, or you want to increase your skill and ability in creating content that leads to sales, listen up. This is for you. So I get up. My number one priority as somebody who didn't have health for an extended period of time is to take care of my health. That is a non-negotiable for me. I will never prioritize anything above that ever again for the rest of my life, because it is not fun when it's not there, right? So I move my body. That is, I don't even have breakfast. I drink water. I hit the mat. I do some yoga, or I do a workout for 30 minutes. Then the next priority that makes my day go completely differently when I do it than if I don't do it is mindset. I do my mindset work, whatever my practices are in that particular moment. I do money mindset every day. And then, because I always feel so good after moving, right? Especially after sleep. It's like sleep and then move. Your brain isn't clogged up with the thoughts of yesterday. It's still kind of waking up. So it's such a great moment to tap into your intuition, and tapping into your body is the fastest path to connecting to your intuition. And movement and breath always, for me, connects me to inspiration and ideas and just feeling good, right? So whatever makes you feel good, whatever makes you feel alive and inspired, do that first. And come into your body, because we don't want to be overthinking things. We don't want to be projecting. We don't want to be regurgitating what is like a thought that we picked up from somebody else that's rattling around in our head. We want to be sharing what is pure inspiration from us, because that is the message that will stand out. That is what will resonate with the people who are the best fit to work with us when we translate that into content that we're sharing. So, number one, movement. Number two, mindset. And number three is the writing and creation, because always, and sometimes I'll write, I'll start getting inspired ideas when I'm moving. So I'll write them down in my journal, and then I'll continue my mindset practice. And then I'll convert whatever inspired ideas came up for me into content, whether that's content for a course or for a masterclass or for a freebie or for a post or for a live stream or for an event or conversations with people that popped into my mind, collaborations, like really following those intuitive impulses and noticing when ideas pop in, writing them down, and then translating them into action. The faster you can condense this process, the more momentum, the more results, the more magic, the more flow you are going to experience in business, life, and money. So now for me, it's a bit more fluid, because, I did that every day for years, and I would create a piece of content, publish it, and then get on with the rest of my business activities. Or I would have breakfast and then get on with business. And now I don't necessarily always create in the morning, because I can create whenever I want to, because I've got to that place now. I've built that self-trust that I know what to write. I know how to tap into inspiration. I know what my message is and what I'm feeling called to share. And I know how to tap into that in any given moment that I decide it's a good time for me to tap into that. But that's how I built that practice and that skill, and really embodied that, so that I never like I never struggle to come up with content ever. And before I used to collect inspired ideas and like write them down in a note or write them down in the back of my journal. And, you know, sometimes I'll do that, but now I know how to tap into that. I know how to open up to that. And that is like a muscle that I built through this specific practice. So run with it. As always, tweak it, make it your own, find your path of least resistance into something similar, but really making that commitment and finding a way to habit stack so that like it's a non-negotiable practice for you. And you do it in a way that feels so good, that is fueled by inspiration, because that energy sells, right? That is your highest level of performance right there because of the way that you show up for it. And, you know, really knowing and embodying the strategic pieces, that just gets to be something that's then integrated into the way that you write. And maybe that's going to take a little bit of time in the beginning, but you will start to integrate that more naturally. And it will be so easy to share your authentic voice in a way that's also ticking those boxes strategically and leading to people taking action. So if this is something that you would like support with, I'm super excited to announce a special offer that I have going on at the moment, where you get to work with me one-on-one for 30 minutes every month, where we outline 4 specific pieces of story-based sales content. And it's such a powerful way of working, because not only will this teach you how to structure your story, your experience, and your expertise in a way that's selling your program and speaking directly to the people who are a perfect fit to work with you with calls to action and everything. It'll make it really fast, that learning process, to integrate that skill. You'll have my support with it. So we'll really be able to get those really juicy pieces of story that people really want to hear and need to hear to know who you are and what you're about enough to buy from you. And then you'll go away. I'll outline most of the content strategy and the calls to action. You'll go away and write the pieces. So you'll be able to tap into your authentic voice and share your story and practice writing it in that strategic way. And then I'll edit those and give you feedback on it so that you're really tweaking and fine-tuning your ability to share who you are, your story, and what you do in a way that leads to sales. So this is a super affordable price to work with me at the moment, because there's only one 30-minute call a month for 6 months. So you're really going to embody that habit by the end of our time working together. Plus, anybody who signs up for this also gets access to Tell Stories That Sell. So you get my entire 8-week course, which is everything, all of the tools and clarity processes to design your offer, your social media strategy, all of your online content to be making you money 24/7 once you've published it, as well as energy management, money mindset, and scheduling and delegating, so that you are really creating that life and business of freedom to work as little or as much as you want and to be only doing things that you love and enjoy in super fun ways in the way that you're making money. So send me an email, sarah@withsarahmac.com, if you would like to grab one of these places. And if you would like more information, I'm so excited to be offering this. And please share with me what comes up for you around this. If there's any resistance to any part of this, if you have any questions, definitely reach out and let me know. I would love to know what's coming up for you. And thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing week. I'm sending you so much love. Bye.
For more inspirational content, head over to my website, withsarahmac.com, and please support the show by liking, commenting, and subscribing.